Another day, another video. Hey everyone, fellow fans of the written word, fellow fans of Wheel of Time, which I'm a new fan, but I still count myself as one at this point. Um, these are the last few chapters in the Dragon Reborn, the third book. And this will be a brief video because I will be reviewing the book as a whole after this. So let's just hop on and do a quick recap, shall we? So, last time we saw Matt, he met Tom Merlin, the Gleeman, and both of them escaped the city. They traveled to Camelin because Matt wanted to deliver a letter from Elaine to her mother, the Queen Morghese. And so what happens then? What happens then is, um, while trying to deliver the letter, Matt doesn't succeed it on the first attempt. Apparently, the Queen has a new advisor, not an Aes Sedai, and he has kind of made a lot of changes within the guard. And when the guard that's on the gate finds out that Matt is delivering this letter from the White Tower, from Tarvalon, he just six other guards on him. So then Matt, as resourceful as he decides to do what Rand did and try and find that fated fence wall on which Rand used when he was eyeing Logain. So he does just that. And while sneaking there, being sneaky, he overhears a plot, a conspiracy to kill Elaine. And the person responsible for this conspiracy is Gabriel, the Queen's advisor, and as we find out, her consort as well. I don't know if that's his official title yet, but he is her lover, at least. So Matt displays a stunning act of spine and vows to stop this plot. So he leaves Camelin with Tom and learns that they are going to Tyr. And there is actually an interesting scene that happens in the court, but I will save it for another segment. So back in Tyr, we have our girls, Nynaeve, Egwene, Elaine, where they are in big trouble. They're betrayed by a thief catcher who was specifically employed to help them find Black Aja, even though he didn't know that they were specifically hunting Black Aja. But to be fair, he was not doing this on his own volition. He was compelled to do this because Leandrin the Black Aja made him do it with her magic. So they are pretty badly beaten and imprisoned in the Stone of Tyr. There they are, of course, rescued by our dashing hero Matt. And the thief in question, Julin, if I'm pronouncing his name right, he joins them as well because all of them learn that he did not mean it. It was not his fault. But back at the group that is Perrin and Moraine and Faile, something tragic happens. Um, Black Aja have set a sort of a trap for Moraine, and Faile, as feisty as she is, falls into this trap that was actually meant for Moraine. And since it was all set up that Perrin does navigate the dream world thanks to his wolf brother powers, he goes to deep into the world of dreams, ventures forth in attempt to rescue her, which he does. Uh, and finally, we are at Rand. Rand, well, to cut the long story short, he is um, dueling the Forsaken Bilal in the Stone of Tyr. And but, however, their duel is interrupted by Moraine. And Moraine, interestingly enough, in the conversation with Perrin prior to this confrontation, she does say she attempts to, well, she says that her and her Warderland are going on this mission to stop the Forsaken, and this time she will not hold back. This time she is going fully equipped, whatever that means. She is ready to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and she's all out of bubblegum, I guess. And so she goes there and kills Bilal with balefire. And lo and behold, Balsamon, poof, appears in their midst, and he kind of knocks Moraine out, disables her powers, and engages in a battle with Rand. Rand manages to take this highly coveted magical sword, Kalendor, once again proving himself that yes, he is the dragon reborn, and kills Balsamon. And he is kind of, he thinks that, so this is it, I killed the Dark One, because in his eyes Balsamon equals Dark One, which I, to be fair, thought the same thing. Apparently that's not the case, because when Moraine comes to, she says that you have killed a human, even though he was a Forsaken, and since you've killed human and Dark One isn't a human at all, Dark One is, well, he's still around. Only thing that's left of Dark One is, I guess, a shell, a corpse. I do have some questions about this, but more about that later in a bit. Then Egwene has I guess, a moment of inspiration, a eureka moment where she remembers a sort of a, what was it, a piece of paper with a prophecy given to her by Varen Sedai, and she introduces the idea that the corpse in front of them is possibly Ishamael, who I guess was the strongest, or at least the leader of the Forsaken. Then Aiel show up and occupy Tyr, and they reveal themselves, proclaim themselves, I should say, as people of the dragon. They've been waiting for him, apparently. So that's it. Now, on to questions. Last time in my last video, I asked a question about the technology level of the world that Robert Jordan made. And thank you very much for your comments on the previous video. I do really appreciate that you guys and gals comment and give me feedback because, well, I do this because I enjoy doing this and it's nice to get some kind of feedback. And my follow-up question is, so Matt and others, to be fair, but in this last stretch of characters, he often comments about other people's speech patterns and accents. Now, I do remember that there is this old tongue that is being mentioned because Matt does, when he was being healed and after he got better, he was spouting phrases in this old tongue, which is fair. But other than that, I don't remember any mentions of other languages. Anything that's other than a regional accent, dialect, which are present here because there's a clear difference between how people in Two Rivers talk, how people in Camelin talk, and so on. That's again also a very good thing because it also pulls double duty in writing. As I commented in previous books, something that I really like is how well Robert Jordan paints a picture with different types of communities. You have a port town, a small village in the middle of nowhere, a farming commune, things like that. People act differently, people talk differently, there are different dynamics, and certainly a dialect contributes to that. I'm just not too sure about the implications that happened after the apocalypse, because when I asked about the tech level, again, thank you for your comment. You guys said that since this is a cyclical thing, apocalypse, the breaking happened, and some knowledge remained, like herbs. Herbs are a super important thing. Medicine is crucial. So that's why wisdoms are so in demand, so respected, and so critical. But then again, we have things like gunpowder, which is only used for entertainment, for fireworks, even though it is a weapon of mass destruction in their level of development, right? So is this kind of a reverse Tower of Babel situation then? Or maybe I'm just not thinking broad enough, since I should maybe look at the map once again, of the whole globe, if such a thing exists, just to see, maybe I'm just not thinking broad enough. Maybe there are different languages and the area that has been covered by our heroes is not as vast as I think, because after all, they are the fastest they can travel is via boat or on horses. That's it. And it is conceivable that they are still within the confines of the same language. It's curious that after the breaking, I see no mentions of other languages forming because, Anyway, let's move on. Other thing, and this is probably inevitable, Balzaman. What's the deal with Balzaman? Balzaman is was I'm just so is this like an avatar kind of situation? Was he just a Forsaken who had a direct phone line to the Dark One, or was he an avatar of the Dark One? human, or at least shell. Was this just Dark One in flesh? That's something that he can do. Um, no more questions, since I'll be leaving this for my next video. Next, on to next thing, which is what I liked. And you guys were right. Matt is getting much better. And to illustrate this point, I want to quote one of his kind of observations. And this is at the almost at the very end, like chapter 54 or 53. Goes like this. The rooftops of Tyr were no place for a sensible man to be in the night. Matt decided as he peered into the moon shadows. A little more than 50 paces of Broad Street, or perhaps narrow plaza, separated the stone from his tiled roof, itself 3 stories above the paving stones. But when was I ever sensible? The only people I ever met who were sensible all the time were so boring that watching them could put you to sleep. That's kind of, I guess, met in a short paragraph. Um, I guess he has the power and ability to be uh, self-reflective to a point. Also, the chapter in Camelin when Matt was delivering the letter. Looks like Matt is a keen character observer, which did I not expect. He kind of, at least there, had an ability to absorb the situation, read the room. Even though he is this country boy, he had enough acuity to not say too much, not to bite his tongue, and the whole just verbal juggling and the queen's advisor and the way he interacted with the queen, that was really entertaining, I have to say. Another thing that I liked, which is, it's gonna sound weird out of context, but I liked that girls were defeated initially, which is not to say I want them to be beaten and harmed, not at all, especially not Nynaeve, as I said. She's like I'm juggling between her and Perrin for being my favorite characters. But I like that they were over their heads in their endeavor. They did get into trouble, to major trouble, but it was not because they were incompetent or because they were foolish. I don't think so. I think there was just this element of their enemy was just so much above them. They were so outclassed. Because I get a feeling that Black Aja, they don't play. I don't think this is a conspiracy, this Black Aja that have been hiding in the Tarvalan midst for who knows how long, maybe generations. The difference in cunning and power and experience and ill will is immeasurable, so it's only natural that they got defeated the first time. Thankfully, they got out of the situation, of course, but that was my point. And one more thing, I do like that Gabriel is a charismatic villain. If I can call him that. I don't think he is well written. I don't think that at this point story does need more charismatic villains such as he. Yeah, that's it. Not much. Now, less pleasant things such as parts of the story that I didn't like all that much. Faile. what a failure you are. Now, uh, not in that, not in that context. I am trying to understand, just on a meta level, narratively, what's the point of her character here? I don't get it, because does she have any function at the point here besides being the one that's promised to parent? Not officially, of course, but it is fated. This will happen. But all this talk about her being a hunter on the hunt, none of it is relevant at all to the story at this point. And when she is talking to other characters, it's like hitting a brick wall. I don't think she has any kind of chemistry with other characters. Just maybe with Parent, but not even then. I'm just confused at her role here. But let's move on. Um, hmm. This is maybe a negative that I will expand upon in the entire review of the book, but Leandrin. Leandrin didn't impress me all that much in this book as an antagonist, which again is maybe me being unfair because she's not the main antagonist, she's not Balzaman, she's not the Dark One, but I just expected her to be more than a henchman. I think it's all stems from my desire to understand how the Dark Friends function as a group, how much autonomy any of them have. Are they all left to their own devices when they're not bossed around by a murderer who is in turn bossed around by someone above him, like a dreadlord, and so on and so forth? I'm just not terribly impressed by her, to be fair. And I think that's it. I will not do any kind of prediction because I'll save it for later. I just want to thank you all for watching and for sticking around. I'm certainly here for the long haul. As for me, that's it for today. See you maybe even tomorrow. I'll probably post a video of my review. Bye bye.